Namaste and welcome to another session on Yoga Vidya. Today we will be dealing with the basics of Pranayama. Pranayama is an ancient breath control technique which enhances health, wellness and consciousness, and one that can be easily embedded in our daily routine. Before we go into the discipline of Pranayama, let us first understand the process of breathing. First and most important, breathing is involuntary. That is, we do it without being conscious that we are breathing. The second is, breathing is the source of life. So breathing is a critical element of living. Now, let us look at the dynamics of breathing. What happens when we breathe? First, when we breathe, our abdomen falls down. When the abdomen falls down, it pulls the diaphragm down and then negative pressure is created in the chest. When this happens, air is sucked from the outside atmosphere into the lungs. This is the basic dynamic of what happens when we inhale. What happens when we exhale is that the abdominal walls push inside, pushing the diaphragm up, and the pressure created by the upward movement of the diaphragm pushes the air outside the body. Another important aspect of breathing which we need to understand is volumetric efficiency of breathing. Normally, in any breathing cycle, we inhale and exhale about 500 ml of air. However, if we were to try really hard, we will be able to exhale about 1 liter of air. Even after we exhale 1 liter of air, there would still be 1200 ml of air in the lungs. This is called residual volume, and this air cannot be forced out of the lungs. The greatest volume of air that can be taken in is called inspiratory capacity, and this is about 3.5 liters. If we were to add the residual volume with the inspiratory capacity, it comes to roughly 5 liters. This is our total lung capacity. Another aspect of breathing that we need to understand is what happens when we breathe. Atmospheric air enters our system through the nostrils, and this air contains roughly 79% nitrogen, 20% oxygen and traces of carbon dioxide. Our body uses only oxygen, and in exchange the body gives up carbon dioxide and water. It's very important to understand why oxygen is important. Our body stores whatever we eat as fat, as amino acids and other nutrients. So whenever we need to do something, our body needs to break down the starches and the sugars and the other nutrients into useful work. That means it needs to create a form of combustion for which oxygen is required. Oxygen is that component which transforms whatever we have as potential energy into kinetic energy, into useful work. So without oxygen, we become immobile and die. Now, after oxygen is used to create work, the byproducts are carbon dioxide and water vapor and other wastes which go to the kidneys and other organs from where it is removed. But what is important is that the gaseous component, which is the carbon dioxide and the water vapor, is moved to the lungs from where it is exhausted into the atmosphere. This transformation is called diffusion. Air enters the nostril, goes into the nasal cavity and then enters the trachea. The windpipe then divides into two bronchi somewhere here, and then the bronchi continue to subdivide into what is called bronchioles. The bronchioles end in gas bags called alveoli. The alveoli is almost like a gas bag which is surrounded by very microscopically thin-walled capillaries. When we breathe in, the air that goes in is diffused into the red blood corpuscles which transfer carbon dioxide and water vapor into the alveoli. In exchange, take the fresh oxygen which they then take back to the heart. This is called pulmonary circulation. The basic breathing is simple. Air goes in, oxygen is traded for carbon dioxide and water vapor, which is then exhausted through exhalation. But it's not that simple. The rate of change of breathing, the way we breathe, how much we inhale, how much we exhale, all of this controls the quality and the quantity of oxygen that will go into our system. And that in turn will determine how we are able to function in our environment. So breathing is a psychosomatic event. While the basic breathing is standard, the quality of breathing, the ability to breathe effectively is dependent a lot on the way you feel and how conscious you are of your breathing. For example, whenever we are stressed, we will breathe in a rapid motion. Our throat will feel tight. So this will impact the quality of oxygen going into our system. Whenever we are happy and relaxed, our abdomen will relax. And when our abdomen relaxes, then the resistance that the diaphragm has to moving in and out will reduce. When that happens, our breathing quality improves. Another important thing is which nostril is being used for breathing. We breathe through two nostrils. Normally, one nostril is dominant over the other. However, if we find a way to equalize the way we breathe, that in turn will balance the functioning of the left and the right brain, which is the creative and the rational side. So balancing breathing through the nostril is another important element which determines quality of breath. To reiterate, yoga is the movement of the cognition from turbulence to stillness, from cacophony to silence, and from the sense of doership or ahankara to inertness or bhasma. Thanks for watching. Do like, share and subscribe. And for more information, you could visit our website www.schoolofyoga.in.